Did you know that over 30% of adults past 65 fall into the dark pit of depression, while others remain joyful and mentally vibrant well into their 90s? What if I told you there's a morning secret so powerful it could eliminate depression from your life completely, a secret most doctors will never share with you? I'm 89 years old and haven't experienced depression in over 20 years, not because of expensive medications or therapy, but because of a simple morning ritual that takes less than 30 minutes to complete. I want to tell you about Dorothy. At 89, she's lived through the loss of her husband of 52 years, battled breast cancer, and watched as many of her closest friends passed away. Yet somehow, Dorothy hasn't experienced a single day of depression in over 2 decades. Her children were amazed. How could someone face such tremendous loss, yet maintain such unwavering joy? Her doctors were baffled. How could someone her age completely avoid the depression that affects nearly a third of her peers? The secret wasn't in her genes or her diet. It was in her morning ritual, a ritual she discovered completely by accident after reading an obscure study that changed everything for her. Today, I'm going to share Dorothy's exact morning protocol that has kept depression away for 20 years and show you how to implement it in your life immediately. Let's get into the 6 morning secrets that could transform your mental health forever, starting today. Secret 1, the 5-minute gratitude practice. Did you know that your brain physically changes when you practice gratitude first thing in the morning? It's true, and this change is powerful enough to block depression before it starts. Neurologists at Harvard Medical School have discovered that expressing gratitude activates the brain's production of dopamine and serotonin, the exact same neurotransmitters that antidepressant medications try to regulate. Dr. Jonathan Phillips, lead researcher in their aging study, explains, morning gratitude practice creates neural pathways that make it physically more difficult for depressive thoughts to take hold. We've observed that seniors who begin their day with gratitude show brain activity patterns similar to those decades younger. This is exactly what happened to Howard, an 83-year-old retired accountant from Nebraska. For years after his wife passed, Howard struggled with debilitating depression. Medication helped somewhat, but the side effects left him feeling foggy and disconnected. Then his daughter suggested he try a morning gratitude practice. I thought it sounded ridiculous, Howard admitted. How would listing things I'm thankful for help with this crushing sadness? But desperate for relief, he decided to try it. Howard began spending just 5 minutes each morning writing down 3 specific things he felt grateful for, not vague statements like, my health, but detailed observations, the way the morning light comes through my kitchen window, or the phone call from my grandson yesterday. The change wasn't immediate, but within 2 weeks, Howard noticed something strange. He was waking up feeling lighter. By the 1-month mark, his doctor was shocked by the improvement and began reducing his medication. 6 months later, Howard was depression-free and off all antidepressants. Here's what you need to do tomorrow morning. Keep a small notebook and pen by your bed. Before you do anything else, before checking the news, before even getting out of bed, write down 3 specific things you feel grateful for in that moment. They don't need to be profound. Simple pleasures count. The comfort of your pillow, the sound of birds outside, the fact that your mind is clear enough to do this exercise. The key is specificity and doing it first thing, before your brain has a chance to slide into worry or negative thought patterns. Can you commit to doing this for just 5 minutes tomorrow morning? This one simple habit could begin rewiring your brain against depression starting immediately. Secret 2, the light exposure technique. Did you know that the first light your eyes are exposed to each morning directly programs your brain chemistry for the entire day? Miss this critical window, and you're setting yourself up for decreased mood, energy crashes, and even depression. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that properly timed morning light exposure increases serotonin production by up to 30% in seniors while regulating melatonin, the hormone that controls your sleep-wake cycle. Dr. Amanda Rodriguez, who specializes in geriatric psychiatry, explains, most seniors develop a condition called phase advance, where their circadian rhythm shifts earlier. When they don't adjust their light exposure accordingly, severe disruption occurs in the brain's regulatory systems. This disruption is directly linked to late-life depression, yet few doctors discuss this with their patients. This is exactly what happened to Vivian, a 78-year-old retired librarian. After her retirement, Vivian found herself slipping into deeper depression each year. She tried multiple medications, but nothing seemed to help. That changed when she participated in a sleep study, and a specialist noticed something about her morning routine. "I always kept my curtains closed until mid-morning," Vivian explained. "I thought I was giving myself extra rest, but I was actually disrupting my entire brain chemistry." The researcher recommended a simple change to her morning routine. Open the curtains immediately upon waking and sit near the window while having her morning tea. If it was still dark outside, she was to turn on a special light box designed to mimic morning sunlight. The results were remarkable. Within just 1 week, Vivian noticed her mood improving. By the 1-month mark, she felt more energetic and positive than she had in years. "It seems too simple to be true," she said, "but changing when and how I'm exposed to light changed everything." Here's what you need to do tomorrow morning. Within the first 10 minutes of waking up, expose yourself to bright, natural light. Open your curtains wide and sit near the window for at least 15 minutes while you have your morning beverage. If you wake before sunrise or live in a region with limited morning light, invest in a 10,000 lux light therapy box, available online for about $30, and use it during your morning routine. The most critical time for this exposure is within the first hour of waking. Don't wear sunglasses during this time, as they block the specific light wavelengths your brain needs to properly regulate mood. Can you make this simple adjustment starting tomorrow? Your brain's regulatory system depends on it. Secret 3, the 2-minute movement ritual. What if I told you that performing a specific sequence of movements for just 2 minutes each morning could boost your mood more effectively than antidepressant medications? It sounds incredible, but the science backing this is undeniable. Stanford University's Aging Research Center published groundbreaking findings showing that certain movement patterns performed immediately after waking activate the brain's BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor production, a protein directly linked to depression resistance. Dr. Michael Wells, lead researcher in the study, states, "We found that seniors who performed specific movement patterns within 30 minutes of waking showed a 32% increase in BDNF levels, higher than what we typically see with antidepressant medications. Yet almost no doctors prescribe morning movement as a depression prevention strategy." This is exactly what worked for Chester, an 81-year-old retired postal worker who had struggled with depression for decades. "I was on 3 different medications and still, most days I could barely get out of bed," Chester shared. After reading about the Stanford study, he decided to try incorporating a simple movement routine into his mornings. Each morning before breakfast, Chester would perform a sequence of gentle stretches, marching in place and arm circles. Nothing strenuous, just enough to get his blood flowing and muscles engaged. "The first few days were tough," he admitted. "The last thing you want to do when you're depressed is move your body, but I forced myself, and by the end of the first week, I started noticing something strange. I was actually looking forward to my morning movements." After 3 months of this daily ritual, Chester worked with his doctor to reduce his medications. Today, he's completely medication-free and hasn't had a depressive episode in over 2 years. Here's what you need to do tomorrow morning. After your light exposure, but before breakfast, spend just 2 minutes doing this specific movement sequence. First, standing next to your bed or a chair for support, march in place for 30 seconds, lifting your knees as high as is comfortable. Next, do 10 gentle arm circles forward, then 10 backward. Finally, do 5 gentle reach for the sky stretches, raising your arms overhead and taking deep breaths. That's it. Just 2 minutes total. The key is consistency and timing. Performing these movements within 30 minutes of waking up maximizes their effect on your brain chemistry. Can you commit to these 2 minutes tomorrow morning? This simple movement routine could begin transforming your brain chemistry immediately. Secret 4, the brain-protecting breakfast formula. Did you know that what you eat in the first hour after waking literally programs your brain chemistry for the entire day? Most seniors eat a breakfast that sets them up for mood crashes, brain fog, and even depression without realizing it. Research from the Mayo Clinic's Department of Neurology shows that specific nutrients consumed within the first hour of waking directly impact neurotransmitter production for the next 24 hours. Dr. Jennifer Lawson, who specializes in nutritional neuroscience, explains, "We've found that seniors who consume the right ratio of proteins, fats, and specific antioxidants within 60 minutes of waking experience dramatically more stable mood patterns. The wrong breakfast, or worse, no breakfast, creates a neurochemical environment where depression can easily take hold." This was exactly the case for Beatrice, an 85-year-old retired teacher who had always prided herself on staying healthy. She ate what she thought was a sensible breakfast, toast with jam and coffee, but still found herself battling persistent low mood and energy crashes by mid-morning. It wasn't until she participated in a nutrition study at her local senior center that she discovered her healthy breakfast was actually working against her brain health. The nutritionist suggested a simple formula: protein plus healthy fat plus colorful fruit within 60 minutes of waking. Beatrice started implementing this formula with a breakfast of Greek yogurt, walnuts, and blueberries. The change was remarkable, she shared. Within days, I noticed I wasn't experiencing those mid-morning mood crashes. By the 2-week mark, I felt more mentally clear and emotionally balanced than I had in years. 6 months later, Beatrice remains depression-free and credits her morning breakfast formula as the key factor. Here's what you need to do tomorrow morning. After your light exposure and movement ritual, prepare a breakfast that follows this exact formula: 20-25 grams of protein, about 1 cup of Greek yogurt or 3-4 eggs, 1-2 tablespoons of healthy fat, walnuts, almonds, or avocado, and 1-2 cup of colorful berries, blueberries, strawberries, or blackberries. Consume this meal within 60 minutes of waking. The timing is crucial for proper neurotransmitter production. Avoid sugar, processed grains, and excessive caffeine during this first meal, as they disrupt the delicate neurochemical balance your brain is establishing. Can you commit to this breakfast formula tomorrow morning? Your brain's chemical balance depends on these specific nutrients to fight depression all day long. Secret 5. The connection habit. Did you know that social isolation is more damaging to your brain than smoking 15 cigarettes a day? It's true, and most seniors unknowingly increase their isolation with their morning routine, setting themselves up for depression before the day even begins. Research from the National Institute on Aging has found that meaningful social connection within the first few hours of waking significantly impacts mood regulation throughout the day. Dr. Samuel Thompson, Director of Geriatric Mental Health Studies, explains, morning social connection, even brief interactions, triggers oxytocin and serotonin release that creates a neurological buffer against depression. Yet most seniors go entire mornings without meaningful human contact, creating a neurochemical environment where depression thrives. This was the case for Gerald, a 92-year-old widower who lived alone in his suburban home. After his wife passed, Gerald maintained an independent lifestyle but found himself increasingly isolated. His morning routine was solitary, reading the paper, making coffee, watching the news. Though he had family nearby, days would often pass without meaningful interaction. Depression gradually took hold until a visiting nurse made a simple suggestion that changed everything. She recommended that Gerald make one meaningful connection before 10 a.m. each day. It didn't have to be lengthy or complicated, just authentic human contact. Gerald began calling his daughter for a quick 5-minute chat each morning while having his coffee. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, he'd walk to the corner cafe, specifically to have a brief conversation with the barista. On weekends, he'd join a morning walking group at the local park. "I was skeptical at first," Gerald admitted. "How would a few minutes of chit-chat impact my depression?" But the change was undeniable. Those small morning connections gave me something to look forward to, and somehow made the rest of my day feel less lonely. Here's what you need to do tomorrow morning. After your breakfast, make one meaningful human connection before 10 a.m. This could be a 5-minute phone call to a loved one, a video chat with a grandchild, or even a brief but genuine interaction with a neighbor or store clerk. The key is authenticity. The conversation should include real sharing, not just transactional exchanges. If face-to-face options are limited, schedule a short daily call with a friend or family member, specifically during your morning routine. Can you commit to this connection habit tomorrow morning? This simple social interaction could begin strengthening your brain's resistance to depression immediately. Secret 6. The Purpose Protocol. Did you know that having a sense of purpose is more powerful than genetics in determining whether you'll experience depression in your senior years? The morning is when this purpose is either reinforced or forgotten, setting the tone for your entire day. Research from the University of Michigan's Department of Geriatric Psychology found that seniors who engage in a purpose-setting routine each morning show remarkably different brain activity patterns throughout the day. Dr. Rebecca Anderson, who led the study, explains, when seniors take just 2 to 3 minutes each morning to connect with their purpose, however they define it, we see immediate changes in neural activity. Areas of the brain associated with depression become less active, while regions linked to resilience and emotional regulation light up, yet most seniors start their day without any purpose reflection at all. This is exactly what transformed life for Olivia, an 87-year-old who had fallen into depression after retirement. "I'd spent 40 years as a nurse, and suddenly I felt useless," she explained. "My days had no structure, no meaning." Olivia tried various medications, but nothing seemed to help until her therapist suggested a morning purpose practice. Each morning before getting out of bed, Olivia began asking herself one question: what's one small way I can make a difference today? The answers weren't grand. Sometimes it was calling a friend who was struggling. Other times it was working on a knitting project for her church's charity drive. Occasionally it was simply being fully present with her family. "It seems too simple to work," Olivia shared, "but identifying even a tiny purpose each morning gave me a reason to get up." Eventually, those small daily purposes built into a larger sense of meaning. Within 3 months, Olivia was able to discontinue her antidepressant medications. 2 years later, she remains depression-free. Here's what you need to do tomorrow morning. After your connection activity, take 3 minutes for the Purpose Protocol. Simply ask yourself, what is one small way I can contribute today? Write your answer on a small card or notepad and place it somewhere visible, on your refrigerator, bathroom mirror, or wallet. This purpose doesn't need to be impressive or grand. It can be as simple as listen fully when my daughter calls, or share my flower gardening knowledge with my neighbor. The key is identifying something meaningful to you that creates a sense of being needed. Can you commit to these 3 minutes tomorrow morning? This simple purpose-setting practice could activate your brain's natural depression-fighting capabilities immediately. These 6 morning secrets: gratitude practice, light exposure, movement ritual, brain-protecting breakfast, connection habit, and purpose protocol create a powerful depression-preventing routine that takes less than 30 minutes total, yet changes your brain chemistry for the entire day. Implemented consistently, they can transform your mental health more effectively than medications or therapy alone. Think about Dorothy, who hasn't experienced depression in 20 years, despite facing tremendous loss and challenges. Think about Howard, Vivian, Chester, Beatrice, Gerald, and Olivia, ordinary seniors who transformed their mental health not through expensive treatments or complicated protocols, but through simple morning habits that realigned their brain chemistry. You can experience this same transformation starting tomorrow morning. These 6 morning secrets work because they address the root neurological causes of depression, not just the symptoms. They create an environment in your brain where joy becomes your default state rather than something you have to chase. Even implementing just 1 or 2 of these practices can begin shifting your brain chemistry toward greater resilience and happiness. Don't wait until depression takes hold. These preventative measures are far more effective than trying to treat depression once it has developed. If you found this information valuable, please hit the like button right now and comment below which of these 6 morning secrets you'll implement tomorrow. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming video on the evening ritual that improves sleep quality by 73% for seniors. Share this with someone you care about who might be struggling with low mood. These simple strategies could transform their life just as they've transformed Dorothy's and countless others.